What's up, family? Got an educational one for you on this one here. Something that a lot of y'all may have had no clue, absolutely no clue. And I'm gonna title this one, College was free until, did you know that? College was free until large number of black people started to enroll. See, before the 1960s, yes, do the research. You got to remember that old saying, that old axiom that goes like this. Don't believe what I'm saying. Do the research. Search it yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. The systemic racist nonsense. College was absolutely free for white students that wanted a higher education, that had a job, but it was free. See, what I always find so amusing, offensively amusing, is that it's these lawmakers that 60 years and plus have the nerve to be telling people, you need to get your life together. You need to get a higher education. You need to pay your college debt off. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That nonsense. When these are the same old wigs that's in office, Congress, senators, governors, these are the same old wigs. They went to college for 100% absolutely free, but then got the nerve to tell you that you need to tell your family, refinance your home, put your family in debt, and go through all kind of crisis. You understand what I'm saying? But let me give you some more actual facts. Ronald Reagan, when he was the governor over there in California in the 60s, eventually he became the president, but it was him who said, we need to start charging tuition because it started to be a large number of black people that wanted to better themselves. Like one of my old videos called Black Excellence. They wanted a higher education. What's wrong with wanting a higher education? Aren't we always taught that we should have a higher education? Common sense tells us we should need a higher education, right? But when black people wanted to go to college, that's when, yes, do the facts, do the fact check. Ronald Reagan had said, quote unquote, verbatim, he said, we need to charge tuition because all these black people wanted to join college. And he said, this is a way, if we charge tuition, because college was free, if we charge tuition, that will be a way to get rid of undesirables. And you see how offensive, blatant disrespect, offensive stuff that was being said, but some people didn't get what he was saying. But who are you talking about, undesirables? We know who he is referring to, but he can't come out and blatantly say it, right? But then we want to turn a blind eye to all the other people that are in college and have always been a problem in this world, but we turn a blind eye to them. We don't have to say race. Do the history check. We know who have always been a problem, but we turn a blind eye to them. And then we control the news networks and stuff, and then we say, no, the people that we put in the burning box, they're the problem. Meanwhile, these are the real problem people all the time, but they get in the pass. But just remember, Ronald Reagan clearly stated in the mid-60s that we should start charging tuition because there was a bunch of black people wanting to join college. And he said, that's how we get rid of undesirables. Isn't that amazing? Just downright disrespectful, amazing. But remember, you have in other countries where college to this day right now is free. Let's not remember Bernie Sanders? In his debate when he was going against Hillary, remember, he actually said that on stage. He said, we need to bring back where college tuition is free, just like it is in other countries. I'm not saying nothing that's not known. It's just that you need to do your research. But that's why I do videos like this. Because I'm telling you, to be honest with you, I didn't even know this. And once I read it, boy, oh boy, you know how like when they say, what an eye opener. I say, isn't that amazing? They have always done everything to disenfranchise us as a people, black and Hispanic. Always try to disenfranchise us and go, oh, college is free. Oh, they trying to join? Now let's charge them.
But since you're actually bringing that information out, what's good for us? What do we intend to do about it? I mean, we can't do anything about that since you bring the information.
It's like what you're saying, basically, I guess you're saying, why am I even speaking about this? Educational purposes. everybody don't read. Some people love getting new information. And sometimes the very information that's out there, you want to hear it from a different perspective, and then it sticks. We all been through that, where your mother may have told you something over and over and over again, but you don't listen. But then when your uncle tell you, all of a sudden now you listen, or your friend tell you listen. But the reason I'm talking about this, educational purposes. What could some people do? They could join groups such as it's called a debt collectors group. It was another one that was called the Corinthians, like in the Bible, the Corinthians 15. These groups was doing everything to cancel college debt. Join groups like that. Look into groups like that. That's what you can do. Because yes, college in other countries to this day right now is free. Education should never have to be. Why do you got to pay for education? This is ridiculous. It touches back on one of my other videos where I said why I am so anti-college. Now I have to give you the breakdown on that, because a lot of people go to college for the wrong majors and then they come out, can't get a job, and they're being very wasteful. And then they don't tell you the other things in college is that it comes down not to just your education. It comes down a lot to do with who do you know? Who do you know? And the nepotism that comes with it. Sometimes that college degree means absolutely nothing if you don't have some type of hookup connection, because college got a lot to do with that. Making connections, getting hookups with people, intermingling, communicating, making connections. If you have no connections, I don't care what your degree is. Sometimes you just won't get that career or that job. But when you got the connections, it's amazing how some people get all the doors open for them and they really don't have the potential, but they got the connections. But ultimately, what I want to stay on is that before the 60s, college was free. But when black people started joining, you see how systemically racist stuff is? And then they still want to try to act like we don't deserve reparations. They have tried to disenfranchise us on every level you can think of. Housing, education, criminal system, all kinds of ways they have did just think this for a moment. When the people work so hard to try to suppress something, it's a reason why. It's a reason why y'all work so hard at always suppressing these type of people, because you really don't want them to reach what? Their true potential, or what you know they are capable of. So you do everything systematically around the world to suppress these people constantly. Think about it. I'm not worried about the next door neighbor, the co-worker or whatever. I'm not worried about them paying my bill. I'm not worried about them. No, I'm worried about someone that is a threat. Someone, even if they're not physically a threat, if they could somehow be better than me. If I'm in a championship game, I'm in a championship fight or whatever, and I seen this guy train, or that woman seen that woman train. See, that's who you're worried about. You're not worried about the woman or the guy that you got to fight in this battle coming up, and you seen their regiment. You seen that they don't work out. You got a cherry pick fight. Y'all know what that means, cherry pick fight. A fight that you know you're going to win. You're not worried about that, even though sometimes it goes devastatingly wrong. But you're not worried about the competitor that you got to go up against when it's been cherry picked, because it's an easy win for you. It's been set up for you, guaranteed to win. But when you got to go up against a competitor that works out just as hard as you work out, it's a threat. Now you like, oh man, this person worked just as hard as me. I might lose. So just remember, I'm going to say it again. You can do all kind of research on what I'm talking about. But just like myself, I didn't know college was actually free before the 60s, 1960s. And it's so offensively insulting that these old wigs, these lawmakers, are the main ones that got the nerve to be telling everybody else, pay off your college debt, refinance your home, take a loan out. You didn't have to take a loan out, did you? You got it free for you 60 plus people. Y'all got it free. But now you want to put the pressure on the younger people. Like I said, I could touch on so many different subjects on this subject here. But just remember, ultimately, college was free until black people started enrolling. And we know all the nonsense came with that. I remember at Stanford, Howard and all that, you had to even get John F. Kennedy, he had to get the military to come into some of them colleges to give entryway to some of the blacks, because all the students that were there, which was just white, was always making it a problem. barricading certain areas, being hostile to students. I'm here for education, and y'all here for violent stuff. Y'all here for evil intent. Where John F. Kennedy at one point had to really get military people involved so these people here could just simply get an education. I'm here for a simple education. What y'all here for? Evil intent. But they always trying to turn a blind eye on the real problem. As they say, the elephant in the room. The real problem is these people. But then you always got the media, whoever controlled the media, say, oh no, it's these people that's the problem. No, that's bull crap. Y'all know who the problem is. What was that old statement Malcolm X said? The chickens come home to roost. See, you always turn a blind eye until it's right there causing you a problem. Now, you could have been nipped it in the bud, as your grandmother used to say. Just keep turning a blind eye. But just remember, I would tell any and everybody out there, do the research. Do the research. You could believe what I'm saying, or you don't have to. Just do the research. I guarantee you'll be baffled and shocked and be like, wow, here it is. My son or my daughter is going through all this college stuff. They need some type of solace. I'm sorry I'm giving you that word so late, but that could be the word of the day, solace. Now, if you look up the word solace, it simply means comfort or consolation in a time of stress or sadness. Don't you think everybody needs some type of solace, especially when you got that college debt hanging over your head? You wake up with college debt stressing. You go to work stressing about the debt that you got to pay. You go to your classes stressing about the college debt you got to pay. You go to sleep at night thinking about that college debt that you got to pay. Don't you think these students need some type of solace? Remember, comfort or consolation when in a time of stress or sadness. When you want some type of solace, where I get some type of relief, like, man, they paid off my college debt. Like I said, the Corinthians 15 is a group. The Debt Union Collectors is another group. Check into those groups. But on that note, look into what I'm talking about. Do y'all research. College used to be free before the 60s or the mid 60s or earlier, until black people started going. And then all of a sudden, oh, we got to start charging them. As I said, verbatim, Ronald Reagan words was, we need to start charging tuition. That is a way we'll get rid of these undesirables. All of a sudden, someone going to college is an undesirable. No, he meant black people. Peace.